Alright then, so Intel strikes back with their new 10th generation Comet Lake S CPUs for the desktop, and with it brings more cores, more threads, better clock speeds, cheaper pricing, a new socket, and what is that? Is that a Z490 board? I'm really sorry to hurt your feelings, but this is basically useless now and you should definitely throw it in the trash. But is all this enough to dethrone the current king? Can Intel finally beat AMD? Well, let's find out. Alright, so what did Intel actually announce? Two things: the new 10th generation Comet Lake S CPUs for the desktop, 17 of them to be precise, and the new Z490 boards. And I like to talk about the Z490 boards first because it's very easy. So there is the new socket, LGA 1200. There is PCI 4.0 support, at least the hardware is present, but the new 10th generation does not support PCI 4.0, and I don't know what's actually going on. Like, why have it in the motherboard when the current CPUs don't have it? And I think Intel is going to wait another generation to move to PCI 4.0 for their CPUs. And yes, the new whatever Rocket Lake next generation will have PCI 4.0 support, that's for sure. But why not include it in the 10th generation itself? You know, it is going to be a big thing when actually, graphics cards and storage takes advantage of PCI 4.0 and Intel's latest CPUs don't support it. And there's Wi-Fi 6, there's 2.5G internet, and that's pretty much it. So that wraps up the new Z490 boards. Yes, there is better digital VRMs, so 16 phases new digital VRM, and you're going to get better overclocking. There's more high bandwidth USB ports, but that is very minimal. That's a very small increment for a new chipset. I think Intel could have stuck with Z390 for another year and then come up with Z490 next year with the Rocket Lake CPUs. But again, you can't use the 10th generation CPUs on Z390 or anything prior, and you cannot use the 8th and 9th generation CPUs on Z490. So it's a totally different socket, there's extra pins, and yes, so that's that. Alright, so now let's talk about the CPUs. So what's new? There's more cores and more threads, and there's hyper-threading enabled across all core CPUs, except the Pentiums and the Celerons, which I don't think you guys are really interested in. So the i3s are going to be 4-core 8-thread, the i5s are going to be 6 and 12, the i7s are going to be 8 cores, 16 threads, and the i9 is going to be 10 cores and 20 threads. And for the i9 and i7s, each CPU is going to be having 4 submodels. So let's say, for example, the i7 is going to be 10700, then the 10700F, the 10700KF, and the 10700K. So the lowest end being the 10700F and the highest end being the 10700K. And the difference between these CPUs is very simple, or confusing in my opinion. Alright, so let me try explaining. The Core i7 10700K is going to have IGP, so that's integrated graphics, plus overclocking. The KF is going to have overclocking only, no IGP, it's disabled. The F is having a lower TDP, lower clock speed, has no overclocking and no IGP, and the 10700, the CPU that does not have any letter after its name, is going to have the integrated graphics. And there's a bunch of turbo boost technologies you guys have to remember as well, so let me talk about that. So you have the base clock, the normal base clock, then you have Intel's Turbo Boost 2.0, again that's max single core boost, then there is Intel Turbo Boost 3.0, and then there is Intel's Thermal Velocity Boost single and all core, and then there is Intel all core turbo frequency boost. You know what, Intel? It's alright, calm down. You're trying too hard, mate. Like, it's just not working out. I don't understand what you're doing to yourself. Calm down, just take a deep breath, forget whatever happened, forget 9th generation, forget 10th generation. Let's start over, let's start fresh, get the R&D department, and let's just get the 11th generation up to par, because all of this is just a disaster. And also with the Z490 chipset, there's a new H470 chipset as well, about which we don't have much news, but yes, that's going to be the more enterprise suited board. And there's also going to be again cheaper budget options, just like B550 from AMD. So there's going to be the B465 I think, and B410 from Intel, but that's going to come later this year, and due to the whole coronavirus pandemic, I think it's going to take some time. Yeah, the nice thing about these CPUs is that they do support better memory speed, so 2933, and that's only for the i7s and the i9s. The i3s and the i5s have 2666 MHz memory support, and I don't know why they decreased the memory speed for the i3s and the i5s. And talking about pricing, the highest end 10900K is going to be $488 and the lowest end i7, the 10700F, is going to be $298. Alright, so if you've noticed, Intel is trying to catch up with AMD in terms of cores and threads for their i3s, i5s and i7s, and also in terms of pricing. And the i9s do lack 2 cores and 4 threads, and AMD is doing a better job there. Their highest end CPU does have 12 cores and 24 threads and retails for a similar price to the 10900K. But what we are forgetting here is that AMD CPUs don't actually sell at their launch price. Let's say something launched for $250, it's currently selling for $200 or less. And then if you take in consideration Intel's pricing, then they're actually competing with the next better CPU. So for example, the Ryzen 5 3600 versus the i5 10900F, whatever they're calling it. If the pricing is similar in terms of the launch price and the AMD CPU is selling for cheaper, then the i5 automatically competes with the next best CPU, that's the 3600X or the 3700X. And then you know what happens. AMD beats Intel. That's what they've been doing for the past few years. But Intel just doesn't get it. They are not able to accept the truth, but maybe they will with 10th generation. So that's that. And as I said, there's also new Pentiums and new Celeron CPUs which are under $100. I don't think you guys should buy them for gaming. Yes, for just budget oriented systems or home theater systems, you should go for that. Again, it's not all bad. The i3s and the i5s are actually pretty good and they seem really competitive in terms of the pricing as well as the specifications. So in my opinion, I think you should wait for the i3s and the i5s, and they'll be competing with Ryzen 5 as well as new Ryzen 3 CPUs, the 3300 and the 3100. And in my opinion, they can actually beat the R3 series CPUs and be a better value. So you have to wait for the performance numbers, you have to wait for the benchmarks, and yes, they can be a good option for budget editing rigs, budget gaming rigs, esports gaming. Also, streaming is possible with the i5s as it has 6 cores and you do require more cores for streaming. So yes, the i3s and i5s are actually pretty good. They have Intel Optane memory support, and yes, there is no Turbo Boost 3.0 on these CPUs. So yes, all they have is their single core active turbo frequency. So yeah, it's very confusing. I don't know why Intel is going with this janky naming scheme and just overcomplicating their lineup. Alright, so conclusion time. What do I think about Intel's 10th generation? Is it enough to kill AMD? Is it enough to beat AMD? The answer is no. Intel's 10th generation is just a refreshed 9th generation, modified 9th generation. Yes, I know they're using the new STIM or STIM technology with a thinner die and stuff like that, but here's how I look at it. Zen 2 is 7 nanometer. It is better, in terms of the performance. It's better in terms of power efficiency, more cores, more threads, and it's cheaper. And it's just a newer, better CPU. Whereas Intel is still stuck on their 14 nanometer plus technology, and it's taking up more power. It is not going to be as power efficient as AMD's options. Thermals are going to be bad. We have to wait to see how they come out. So yes, what kind of cooling you have to use to get actually good performance. I get it. Yes, 5.3 gigahertz on the 10900K is good. Intel, you need to move on. AMD is still king. AMD is still better in terms of the value aspect, in terms of power efficiency. It's going to perform better. And if you had to spend money, I'd still go on Team Red. So that's about it. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then go ahead and smash the like button. Also, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads. Let me know in the comments down below what do you think about Intel's 10th generation, what do you think about the new CPUs. And that's about it. My name has been Yusuf. You guys have been awesome. Stay awesome, keep smiling, stay safe, stay home, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.
And we've been working hard, so if you hating hard, it's a loss, you can fall back. Yeah, I swear I remember some. The top is where I'm going when I'm there, I'm wanting all that. Yeah, and I just want it all, and I just want it all, and I just want all that. Yeah.